Morning, everybody. I think you all know me. I'm Paul Adams from Branston Adams. I'm here with Martin, my glamorous assistant today. I'm so glad you're all back to networking, and I'm so glad that we've got young Mark, who's kindly hosting today.
It's been a long time since I've been called young. But
do you want to tell us a bit about what's been going on?
we were just coming out of a business called Red Mist Leisure and forming a new business called New Dawn Pubs. And as part of that, we wanted to refurbish this lovely pub that you're all stood in now. And we've spent the last couple of months just tidying this up and getting it into a much more desirable shape than perhaps it was previously. So yeah, we're very proud to have relaunched the castle in the last couple of weeks. And if you don't know, we've got some lovely private dining rooms on the first floor as well. So if you get a chance to go and have a mosey up there, please do. And yeah, very much looking forward to hosting these sessions every month here forward. And yeah, hopefully we'll get to meet everybody if I haven't met you already. And thank you for coming along and supporting. I think we always did it in conjunction with Phyllis Tuckwell, didn't we? And we've always provided sort of a cup of coffee and a bacon bun or whatever. But if you get a chance to chuck a couple of quid in the bucket on the way out, then that would be greatly appreciated.
As Mark says, they've refurbished it. The food's really good. You won't be surprised to know I've eaten here already. And we'll hear more from Phyllis Tuckwell at the end. And we'll hear more from Mark as we go on, because it's an monthly event, first Thursday every month. We might have August off for holidays, but we'll see how we get on.
Sounds good, yeah.
So can you give the mic to this young man?
Of course.
Our speaker this morning was originally going to be one Peter Gordon. If anybody listens to BBC Radio Surrey, you'll realise that he's actually on air at this moment in time. The normal presenter's taken a week's holiday, and when Peter phoned me, he said, what do you think, Paul? And I said, I wouldn't be much of an accountant if I said, give up a paid role and come and do some volunteering for me. And literally about this time, he's currently interviewing Keir Starmer on the radio. So unfortunately, I think we come a Paul second. But this young man here, Shahid, welcome Shahid.
Thank you.
Who I've known for many years. He has many roles. I see him about 4 or 5 times a year at Aldershot Town Football Club, because you do quite a lot there, but you can tell us more later. I'm not allowed to mention that I probably go to Reading more than I go to Aldershot. Former High Sheriff of Surrey, runs his own company, and lots of other things in his own right. Shahid, do you want to sort of start off and tell us how you come to be here? So, very quick history in the life of Shahid Azim.
Well, thank you. How I come here quickly, because Peter Gordon couldn't make it and you asked me to come in, so that was the first bit.
Well, I know Peter bullied you on Tuesday as well.
Exactly. So, well, thank you for inviting me down. So, it's easier to sort of share my own sort of experience of being in Surrey. So, I came to England in 1969 as a 7-year-old from Pakistan. We were the first brown family to live in Guildford. I'd only ever seen a brown person in their life out there. So we were in Guildford, and to this day, till my father passed away in February, he still lives in the same road. So he came in 64, we came in 69. He moved from number 11 in 1971 and moved to 46. So that's the length of the sort of 60 years. He just moved that area here. So I came here, couldn't sort of speak English at that time. And really, I didn't know what else, but England won the World Cup, and my next door neighbour came in, and part of my education was to go and learn everyday's life. So the next door neighbour took me to Guildford City Football Club, and that was it. So I fell in love with football, and then I basically went to a school called Parkbine. Now it's called King College, if anybody knows about it. It's probably one of the toughest schools that you could see. Most people get expelled and go there. I suppose it's a privilege. I got expelled from there, so that tells you how tough it was, because I used to get in fights every day. So my father decided to send me to a boarding school. The fact that I couldn't even speak English, they started teaching you French, German and Latin at the same school. So, I left school with no qualification, but loved football, wanted to be a footballer, and as a kid, I used to play for Aldershot Town Football Club down at, we used to go and train over at Fleet. And then I broke my leg, broke my tibia and fibia, and that was in the football. Not that I ever made it, but I tell everybody I would have been playing for England, but I never would have done. But anyway, I went back. So my family wanted me to go back to Pakistan because I had no qualification. So I joined the military, equivalent of Sandhurst. All my family are all military people. They're all trained at Sandhurst. And I suppose I lasted 2 weeks. I hated it. I hated being told what to do, when to get up, and I just thought, no. So I came back and I joined the civil service, what's now DEFRA was called MAF, Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Food in Epsom Road. And this was about when all the stuff that we're talking about now, the Brexit, it was a Commonwealth agriculture policy, it was a Commonwealth market. And I worked in data processing. I didn't know what data processing was, by the way. It was an IT thing, and I only took it because it helped with my training with someone who played squash then, because I couldn't play football. So I thought, right, I can do it's a shift work, so I can do my training. So anyway, it was great work. I really enjoyed it. And my line manager was really great. So he put me on day release to Guildford Tech. And I started, just got some H&D qualifications. Anyway, what I found was the higher I got in the civil service, the less work I was doing. And I thought, well, so I decided to take a pay cut. So when we're talking about 78 at that time, 77, 78, what the power you got in this iPhone was the size of probably about 6 times the size of this whole area here. That's what the sort of processing unit used to be. You had, and this is not sexist, we couldn't have ladies working there. So the hard drives that you have on a USB stick, you physically couldn't pick it up enough to put it on like a washing machine size. So that's where my sort of interface into IT was. But it was great, and I could see the stuff was moving down from mainframes to smaller, and I just decided to leave the operation and move into communication and networking. And then I was loaned out to the GHQ in Cheltenham, and then I worked for the London Dockland Development Corporation. So when you talk about the Canary Wharf, it was just wasteland. It was nothing there. So I was putting the infrastructure there for Price Waterhouse for them. It's all sort of loaned out there. And I left, decided to set my own business up in 1989, building sort of small computers, sort of sub-£1,000 PC computers. And I suppose, and I just want to come across here, sitting here, in front of you, sort of being pompous, but as from a £10,000 in '89, 2005, we were about €120 million company. We had 300 staff, 5 offices in France, Gibraltar, Belgium, and UK. And then in 2005-06, I sold the business. I got bored, wasn't enjoying it, and then I decided to take a couple of years out and then concentrate on charity work really. So I set up a number of charities, but then I set up one for Prince Charles called, or King Charles now, sorry. So Mosaic, which was mentoring in schools. So it's all about kids who were excluded. So it was part of the business in the community, and that we did about 18,000 kids mentoring. Those are kids who were excluded, and that's still going now. And then, I suppose, a year later, I got bored, and then I had a core team of my people that I sold. When I sold the business, they weren't very happy because I sold it, and they weren't happy because I wasn't there. So I bought part of the business back. Well, I didn't buy the business back. I just bought the people back, and I know some lawyers here, so I didn't breach any of my warranties. So I didn't breach any of the warranties, but I just gave them some money. We bought the business back, and that business is still running now. So a company called Arcom IT, and basically they run it. I'm just sort of figurehead really, and so we're an infrastructure company. But also I'm the CEO for a company called Folio 3, which is we've got about 800, 900 staff worldwide from America, so from California to Mexico to Calgary, Canada, UK, Bulgaria, Dubai, Pakistan and Australia. we're in infrastructure. We're a gold partner for Microsoft Dynamics. We're a Oracle NetSuite global partner. And the other side is artificial intelligence, machine learning, apps, and technology, really. And it's great me just giving those buzzwords. I do bugger all, actually, because I'm just a figurehead. They just do all the work. I mean, I just make sure everything's okay. So I run the UK and Europe office. And the reason I do it, because I was just, I look at it that I'm originally from Pakistan, and what else can I do to help people? So, and the world has changed now when it comes to IT since the COVID. A lot more companies globally accept people working remotely. So whereas before wanted on premises, they're quite happy. We can't get high-skilled workers here now. So the people we used to pay, say, let's put it like this: the people we pay graduates who used to leave, we used to pay them 40,000 to come in. Those now graduates are demanding at 60,000, and that's the entry level with no experience. So we applied for high-skilled workers, and we got visas for about 40 staff. So I offered some of our guys in Pakistan, do you want to come to the UK? And one of them said, well, you've been with us 10 years. He said, and this tells you how the world's changing. He said, how much I would earn? I said, well, you'll start on 90K to start with. And he goes, oh, that's all right. And then I said, well, you won't take 90, because he's just used to Pakistan. I said, you've got to pay taxes on it. He said, what's that mean? I said, well, you've got to pay, you get about 50,000. He goes, that's, say roughly about four and a bit. He said, oh, that's all right. Then I said, well, you've got to get a house in Surrey because you haven't got a deposit. And he said, oh, so that's 1,500 quid with you, your wife and kid. He goes, okay, well, you're going to need 1,500 quid for food. Okay. You're going to get a car. And he goes, what does it left for me? I said, well, about 400, 500 quid. And he said, well, I take home in Pakistan £1,800 a month. He said, I have a maid, I have a cook, my wife's doing PhD, my family are close. Excuse the language, I'm not on the camera, I won't say. He said, why I want to come to England for? So I just can't get, so now it's really, really changing, and that's a big change. And when you talk to corporates, they're quite happy. They don't need people on premises anymore. So they say, right, okay, well, if you can deliver it. We've got people in the UK, we've got about 7, 8 staff, we've got more functional consultants, but most of the work is done remotely, and it's the whole dynamic is changing of how work is done. So I'm doing that. And I suppose locally, it's a football club.
Well, should we focus on your charity stuff? Because he's a very modest man. He does lots for charity. In fact, we had tea with Sophia Wessex, one of the charity doers for Disability Initiative. So, what are you doing in the charity industry at the moment, and what's the future hold charity-wise?
So actually, we see we've got Phyllis Tackwell. So I don't know if you've seen. I was just talking to Tom. So Phyllis Tackwell was known for one of the biggest fun event they had for just one-off was they had a satellite we were working with, and they were working with Phyllis Tackwell and said, right, if you can, we want to put company's name on it, and we're going to put this satellite up there, and then it'll have the company logo on it. So I talked to my friend who owned a company called Galaxy Cars, and he's got about 200 drivers, and I said, wouldn't it be great to have Galaxy written on the logo because he's going up in the galaxy? And he goes, well, how much? I think we paid about £40,000 for that. So there's a logo going up in there. So we worked with Phyllis Tackwell quite well. We worked through bridges. I had the boss who looked after me actually when our first job was, he actually died at Phyllis Tackwell in about 82, 83, and I went to see them. And I saw Phyllis Tackwell was quite close to us through the football club, because I think our Paul Shrub, I think he was one of our legend players who played there. He died of motor neuron disease. So Phyllis Tackwell, we drew it through other things, and a lot of hospices, particularly in Surrey, when I was a high sheriff, seeing how challenging all the hospices had of getting funding in, and you don't get actually, you get a certain amount from, about 20% if you're lucky, from the government. The rest is all privately, trying to get donors and that sort of thing, or leaving legacies or something like that. So Phyllis Tackwell, I suppose if you want to say, so I represent 4 members of the royal family. So I've represented Prince Charles keep saying Prince Charles, King Charles. So I look after Mosaic Charity, I'm his ambassador, which I set up, and that's still running. For Countess Wessex, I run Disability Initiative, so I'm a patron for that. Disability Initiative is based in well, there's two. There's Fleet and in Camberley, and this is people who had strokes, and that basically is they need awarded, you know, care assisted people there. It's a great charity. So my company again got involved with it because when we looked at it, how they were looking at clients during the lockdown, because they couldn't come in, so we put in smartphones, tablets, so how they can communicate with people. We put these SIMs in there, and then more importantly was how do you capture the data and communication. So we did that, and so stupidly I got asked to become a patron for that. Oh, not patron, ambassador. As I say, I was probably the first Pakistani origin of from Pakistan to made a high sheriff. That was over in 1,000 years. So I've been representing as a sort of law and order, judiciary, police, crime authorities. So that position goes back to 1066, and you're supposed to be responsible for all the taxes and collections and as a law and order in prisons. But I can tell you how much authority I have on that. I couldn't even get off my speed awareness course, so that tells you. So it tells you, you know, it doesn't give you. It's really a figure, but it's a great position. And I'm a deputy lieutenant for Surrey as well, so I work with Lord Lieutenant Michael Molyneux. So that's like charity work. I set up a working Asian business forum to help the Asians to diversify and become part of mainstream. Oh, sorry, and for Princess Royal, I set up and work with ASTI, which is Acid Survivors Trust International. So I don't know if you come across, you remember Katie Piper, the girl who had acid. So it was all really started in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Uganda, and some in South America. So there's on average reported about 1,000 acid attacks a year. They don't really have, most of the time the system doesn't really look after when it goes through the judiciary. So unless you know somebody, it's very difficult. So the case is just going 10 years and it never come out there. So we got involved with Pakistan and we made a documentary called Saving Face, which actually won an Oscar. And that was basically a half-an-hour documentary about a person, a girl who was, for whatever reason, didn't want to marry this guy. He just threw an acid on her face, it completely deformed her face. And the documentary was about saving her face. It's a half an hour of it. The doctor from the UK, you know, sort of reconstructed her face. And anyway, back with that, what happened was there was a lot of lobbying going on in Pakistan with the government. So now laws in Pakistan have changed the fact that if you, any acid attacks have to be dealt with in 6 months, no ifs or buts, has to be delivered in 6 months. If found guilty, it's death. There's no, don't two others way about it. Because sometimes they're trying to do this honour thing and you pay them off, and that way it's not acceptable, it's death. So the law's sort of changing, so we lobbied that. And the other one, sorry, I forgot, is the Jubilee Action, which is a Christian charity, works out in Guildford, started by Lord Alton of Liverpool, which is again is about children rights really, and children in that's put into, believe it or not, you know, sort of get into sex trade. So we lobbied that again. In Philippines, there was a big check cases, so we worked on that with ITV. So that's, if it's a good cause, we'll work. If it's not, then we won't.
He's not a soft touch, but if you need help, he'll be there. And I suppose we better talk about the football club.
Well, that was a bloody soft touch.
Otherwise, Mark will be having a go at both of us, Mark Butler.
So Aldershot Football, how did I get involved in it? As I said, I played for them in as a kid, so I always keep saying that. So Paul Marcus, who I knew, they were having some financial problems in 2012, and he asked me to help. So I got involved with them, and then I said, I'll just work on the community side of it rather than the football side of it. And I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't do business with you all business people. I wouldn't do business with 90% of the people I meet in the football world. So that tells you, well, you know, for whatever reason, I wouldn't do business with them in real life. If you know, but football means so much to the people, so the town. So basically, they were going through financial problems. The chairman who was running it won the lottery, didn't have a clue. But anyway, so I loaned them. Over 3 months, I loaned them £300,000 to pay the debts off, and without telling us, he put the club into administration. And so then I thought, I didn't want to get involved in it. And then, but the emotional bit was there's a guy called Frank Burt who I used to sit next to, and he was born in 1914, just 6 months after World War I started, and he came to Aldershot in 1926 when it was formed. And I used to sit next to him, and it was 97, and I thought, well, it'd be great to celebrate his 100th. So stupidly, I put in administration, so he went in administration, so I bought it out of administration. Wife wanted a new house, but I thought football club was a bit better. But so I suppose I've been there 10 years. You know, the important thing is pay all the bills. That's the big thing. If you look at our football level now, National League, which is still full-time professional, when Aldershot won the league in 2008, you had teams like, if you're into football, Histon and Droyston, never heard of them. Now our league is of teams that were in the Premier League: Oldham, Scunthorpe, Chesterfield, Notts County found a member. So the league has completely transformed. So it's such a difficult thing. Expectations are very, very high at the club, because everybody wants you to keep writing checks, and it's difficult. We're just trying to be sustainable. So what we are doing is, we've got great council, and we agreed a long lease with them, and we're now in process of hopefully signing it this week with a development agreement where we're going to redevelop the stadium and some back of the tennis court. So hope we generate some money to redevelop the ground that can really make it, not competing with you, so they don't have to have breakfast network in there. So, but he's trying to get other people to make you never use it 24/7, but actually use it 7 times. At the moment, what do we sell? We sell emotion for 90 minutes on a Saturday or a Tuesday, and really, that's about it. So we need to use a facility to get more commercial income. And the big area for me is, because when my daughter got married, we couldn't find, Asian weddings are massive, right? They're not 20 or 30, because when my son married, so he married Hannah who's obviously English from university, we only had 300. And we had to go 150 each. When a lot of my family got really pissed off, because they're saying, "Oh, you didn't invite us." I said, "Well, we have to go half and half with the other side." So, well, when my daughter got married, we had 600 people there, and just couldn't find a venue to have a wedding. And we've got 10,000 Nepalese there in Aldershot that they haven't got any. They go to London for their weddings or can't find it. So for us, I think we're just going to live off weddings for a while. But football it means so much to the town. We are a hub of the community. We are home of the British Army, so that's our identity. So we work very, very closely with the Army. So as a football club, we led on every football club in the country to sign up for the Military Corporate Covenant to support the military, and the family. We were the first club to do the tickets for the troops, so free tickets for the families and everything else. And if you ever come on the Remembrance Day game, which this year is on the 12th, that's one day we show our respect to the military, and what the town means to the people. So we're sort of a hub of the community, really, and the fact that we play football for 90 minutes on a Saturday or Tuesday, that's just something that going in there. So I could give you like that. I'm giving you 52 years of my life, but in
a very short time.
In a short time, but anyway, that tells you what it is.
Yeah, well, Mark Butler, who may present later on, who did actually play for Aldershot first team.
Leading goal scorer, ever.
But not leading appearances?
Yeah, no.
Just to prove I used to go and watch them every week. Is it the 5th of November you've got a dinner?
Yep, with Phil Thompson.
So if anybody wants to go to that, let me know, because I've booked a table. So if anybody wants to come, we'll...
As long as you've got a table, because it's sold out. So as long as you've got your table.
Oh. Well, Richard, who works with me, tells me I've got a table.
Okay, that's good enough.
If he hasn't, we might have a problem. Shaheed, thank you so much. Does anybody have any burning questions for this young man?
Good.
So you're doing an incredible mix of different things with charities and businesses. How do you decide when an opportunity comes up if you've got the time to be able to take it on or not?
right, it's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. If you've got passion for something, you can always do it. There's things that, the best thing I can do now is, again, that's cocky, is putting people together. So you've got 50 years of contacts and relationships, and I'm not lost any of my relationships. People I've worked with, people I went to not university, college with, or people I went to school with, people I've played football, squash with. I still have those contacts, and I have this. So I suffer from a sort of autism, and one of that part is that actually, which is it's a benefit to me, is that actually I can with this thing can put two people together straight away. So if I met somebody, we just met two here. We've got probate and we've got commercial properties. So it's always there. Somebody I can remember, and I remember people very, very quickly. And that's something that I can do very, very quickly. And so sometimes it's easier just to put people together. So, and there used to be time when I was up to 40, we used to write a cheque for charities. But I think time is more important, and relationship and contacts are far, far more important than sometimes writing a cheque. Because cheques you can write there, and it was a bit, ego writing a cheque and from a charity, giving, we've done this, but those days are gone really. I think now it's all about giving time, and I think you can always find time.
See, I use the word legacy. We're going to leave something behind.
Yeah.
So any more questions, or shall we move on? You've wowed them all, Shaheen.
No, I haven't.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we're getting towards the end, so I'm not going to bore you for too long. Next month, assuming he doesn't get nabbed by the radio, we will have Peter Gordon. You're welcome to come and heckle. Tom is here from the hospice. I'm going to give him my microphone because he can tell you what's going on at the hospice and bid you a good day.
How am I going to get this on here?
There
we are. Hello everyone. For those that don't know me, I am Tom. I'm the corporate fundraiser at Phyllis Tuckwell. Thank you, Shaheen. You've got a very incredible life story. I think you've done everything really at this point. That's fantastic.
Haven't you?
Thank you, Paul, for getting this all together. It's good to be back. It's good to have everyone here as well. For those that don't know that much about what the hospice does, I'll just explain a little bit about what we do. We are an adult end-of-life care, providing care in Surrey and North East Hampshire. Our nurses are going out every single day and doing amazing things for people in the community. We're known quite well for our inpatient unit in Farnham, so just up the road up there, and a lot of amazing stories out of there. We've had weddings, we've had all sorts of things go on there, and our nurses do amazing things. But a lot of our care goes out into the community as well, all over Surrey and North East Hampshire. So we're kind of in Camberley, we're in Fleet, we're in Guildford, all over that area. Alongside that, another service we provide is we do care for the families as well of our patients. So it's not just looking after our patients. We also offer counselling services to family members. We have support groups for children that have lost parents or grandparents. And we also offer them benefits or entitlement support as well. And then the last thing we do is we do a living well service. So we also have a service which is traditionally called our day hospice, where people will come into the hospice just for a day, have a bit of respite care. Their support, their carers get a little bit of rest time as well, and they meet people that are going through a similar situation, doing amazing activities such as like desktop horticulture, aromatherapies, acupuncture, all sorts of fantastic activities. So in a nutshell, that is what the care we provide. That's what we do every single day. That service itself, it roughly costs about £25,000 a day to run. So we do get 20% from the NHS. That is the number that we have to raise at that point. From my point of view, corporate fundraising is what I do, so working with all you lovely businesses in the area just to see in all sorts of ways that we can work together. I do believe it is a working together relationship. There are things that we can do that helps you guys out, but there's also obviously in a way that provides care and helps support us as well. Coming up, we are looking at Christmas. It's about Christmas time really, pretty much. We start planning for Christmas mid-July through January. So we've got Christmas stuff coming up. We also have the World Cup coming up as well. It's around the same time this year, so we're going to focus on both of them. We've got a sweepstake pack coming out, so any people that want to have an office sweepstake going on with that as well, we can do that and use that in a way to raise money for charity, so let me know, I can send that across. We have our Santa Fun Runs coming up, so we are in Aldershot with our Santa Fun Run, down Wavell School, I believe is the school, yeah. I don't know. I can never
I
remember.
won't be running.
Yeah, no, I'll be right. So we have that which going around as well. So that is on the 11th of December. So people wanted to participate in that. We are also looking for like a last minute sponsor on that as well. So if anyone's interested in that as well, please do let me know. The other thing that we are looking to do over the Christmas period is that we are looking to light up the hospice as well. So we this year we want to kind of add some Christmas decorations to the hospice. It's something that we've seen other charities do. If anyone is interested in it, we are looking for companies that might fancy sponsoring a star. And then what we can do then is that we can give them all sorts of digital resources. So instead of buying Christmas cards for their staff, they can show all their staff that they've done this for the hospice as well. So if anyone is interested in that, then please do let me know from that as well. I think that is about all the stuff we've got coming up.
Well, there's one more thing.
And also,
you remember, I sometimes dress up as Santa, amongst other things.
we haven't had a chat about it yet, Paul.
Yeah, but I will be dressing up as Santa. And we always do something called Santa Shops in Farnham. So we take what Phyllis Tuckwell does and what I do, and I wander the streets, picking on unsuspecting businesses, Mark. I wonder, and we take some pictures, which will probably involve the man videoing today, and we give it to whichever establishment we're in, branded and unbranded, on the hope they'll give us a present back, which we'll then take to the hospice for nurses, patients and hangers-on. And we'll do that again this year.
Absolutely.
And you'll hear more about the hospice at future meetings, and I'm sure Mark will expand on the pub and chain, and which I suspect may get larger as time goes on. And next month, hopefully Peter Gordon, as I said. But enjoy yourselves, continue, and we'll see you all next month. Thank you very much. Thanks, Tom.